I can imagine you are eager to start getting hands-on experience building your own proxies in Apigee Edge. In this module, we'll talk about how to use the UI to develop your proxies. Specifically, we'll create an OpenAPI spec and then create a new proxy associated to that following our API-first methodology. We'll start with an OpenAPI spec. I'll be using the left-hand navigation, but you can also access the same functionality through the spec tile. Let's head to Develop Specs. To add a new spec, you'll click Plus Specs in the top right. There are options here to create a new spec or import one from either a file or a URL. If you've already created an OpenAPI spec outside of Apigee Edge, you can use one of the import options. For the sake of this discussion, we'll choose New Spec. That takes us to the spec editor with the sample spec loaded. The example spec is there for you to reference so that you aren't starting from scratch. We'll make a minor change to the spec, updating the /persons endpoint to /people. You can see the changes immediately reflected in the right-hand panel. When saving your spec, you'll be prompted to provide a name. Once you save that, you'll be returned to the full spec list and see that your spec is now included. Now let's look at how to create a new proxy based on the spec we just created. As with the spec, you can access the proxy development from the API Proxies tile, but we'll use the left-hand navigation. You'll go to Develop API Proxies. To create a new proxy, you'll click Plus Proxy in the top right. From here, you'll have multiple options to create a new proxy, from no target at all, a SOAP service, a Node app, or from an existing proxy bundle. We'll use the most common option of reverse proxy, where we can route requests to a target backend. We also want to use OpenAPI so that we can reference the spec we just created. From the list of available specs, select the one just created and click Select. You'll now see the spec referenced. Click Next and update your proxy name and base path. You'll also enter the URL for the backend target and a description. Don't worry if you don't have a URL yet or want to have it be configurable. You can update that after your proxy is created. Click Next and select the operations you want exposed as part of your proxy. For this example, we'll just have the one for get/people. Click Next and select your authorization option and whether you will add course headers. Let's choose to add course headers and leave the default OAuth 2.0 option. Click Next and select the virtual host where you want your proxy to be deployed. For this example, we'll use the default virtual host, but if you have custom virtual hosts configured, feel free to use those. Click Next and select the environments where your proxy should be deployed. We'll choose the test environment. Click Build and Deploy to generate, upload, and deploy your proxy to the test environment. Click your proxy name to view it in the Proxy Builder. This is your workspace, as you now go in to edit and add policies. The Overview tab shows your current status of deployments as well as proxy and target endpoint details. Let's click on the Develop tab to see how the proxy reflects our spec and builder options. Remember that we clicked to add course headers? That drove the addition of this policy. That get/people endpoint in our OpenAPI spec, it's reflected here in our proxy endpoint with the associated conditional statement. And that URL we added for our backend target, you can see that here in our target endpoint. This will be the part of Apigee Edge UI where you spend the majority of your time. From here, you can add policies to implement the logic for a specific operation or edit a policy that was generated for you based on your builder options. As you can see, creating your first spec and proxy is simple using the Apigee Edge UI. I hope you'll jump in and give it a try. If you have any questions, please ask them in our community. You can also visit our documentation site for more detailed information. Thanks.